It's 5 and 10 from Skywatch TV for Friday, May 17th, 2024. I'm Derek Gilbert. Item number 5 today is Ukraine. Ukraine has canceled its elections. We talked about that previously. Presidential elections were supposed to be held in March. They weren't. President Vladimir Zelensky will thus remain in office after his term ends on Monday, May 20th. Now, Ukrainian parliamentary elections likewise canceled. They were scheduled to be held last October. They were also canceled because of the war. And that is what makes Secretary of State Antony Blinken, on screen behind me, his appearance in Ukraine even more tone deaf than it might otherwise have been. Blinken went to deliver a speech defending Zelensky's decisions to cancel elections. And then afterwards, he went to a bar in Kyiv. This is where the photo was taken, and gave an impromptu rock concert with some musicians from Kyiv. This taken while he was singing the Neil Young classic, Rockin' in the Free World. Rockin' in the Free World after defending a nation that had just canceled elections, which essentially makes Volodymyr Zelensky president until further notice. Again, tone deaf on multiple levels here. And of course, this just after the United States Congress approved the president's request for another $60 billion in military aid, while Russia now invading from the north, an invasion directed at Ukraine's second largest city, Kyiv. Why? Because it's the closest Ukrainian city to the Russian city of Belgorod, which has endured numerous Ukrainian drone strikes over the past year or so. The Russians are making quite impressive progress in this new phase of the war, because apparently there's no first line of defense on the Ukrainian side of the line. Ukrainian military officers say that the first line of defense that was supposed to be there, things like minefields and barriers to prevent the Russians from just walking across the border, not there. According to Business Insider and the Washington Post, money, like tens of millions of dollars that were sent to regional defense officials to build those first lines of defense, just gone, missing. Corruption in Ukraine is a serious problem, and it's being funded by American taxpayer dollars. So the Russians have just walked across the border because the defenses that we paid for don't exist. But there's some Ukrainian government officials driving really nice new cars. Topic number 4, Israel. The Gaza pier is complete. This was the promise made by President Biden at his State of the Union address. The IDF ready to start delivering aid to Ukraine as soon as it starts coming in on this floating pier off the shore of Gaza. This, if it is a genocide, as many protesters and some in the corporate media claim, is the worst genocide ever. We're going to feed you so that we can turn around and kill you? As there are some who actually believe that that is what Israel is doing. They're only feeding them to make it look like they're helping the Gazans, so they can turn around and... Anyway, soldiers in the tunnels of the Zaytun neighborhood in Gaza, that's the central part of the Gaza Strip, finding tons of food aid hidden in the tunnels, hijacked by Hamas for its own use. Food intended for the civilians of Gaza, stolen by Hamas and stored away in its tunnels. The IDF recovering that food. Friendly fire accident in Gaza, sadly, the biggest one for the IDF since the start of the war. 5 were killed, 7 wounded as a couple of IDF tanks opened fire on a building that turned out to be a forward HQ for the IDF operating in northern Gaza. This, sadly, is not an uncommon thing. If you're military or ex-military, you know this. Us civilians aren't aware of this. Stories like this are shocking to us, but statistically, over the course of history, roughly 20% of all fatalities suffered by soldiers in war are due to friendly fire, and that's been the case so far with the IDF. Of the 105 soldiers killed during the ground operation in Gaza, 20 now victims of friendly fire accidents. Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, as mentioned yesterday, speaking out against Netanyahu, he's said that he does not want a military occupation of Gaza the day after the war is complete. Netanyahu has said flat out he does not want to replace Hamas-Stan with Fatah-Stan, Fatah being the political party of the Palestinian Authority, which controls tenuously Judea and Samaria, which the world calls the West Bank. The problem is that right now, arguing over what's going to happen the day after doesn't do anything except help Hamas. The focus for Israel, and commentators in Israel are pretty much agreed on this. They may not all like Netanyahu, but I think from what we saw and heard from people on the ground in Israel, just citizens, look, win the war, destroy Hamas, then figure out how to deal with Gaza afterward. If Hamas survives this war in any way, shape, or form, according to the Muslim mindset, they will be able to declare victory, and they will emerge not only the dominant power in Gaza, but in Judea and Samaria as well. And the idea of a murderous death cult on both sides of Israel is absolutely unacceptable to the Israelis, and it would not be acceptable to any rational thinking person in the United States either. By the way, Donald Trump has come out formally against a two-state solution in Israel. He is the first U.S. leader in 30 years to do so. Good on him. We conservatives like to think that Republicans are pro-Israel, but you might remember that George W. Bush's Secretary of State, Condoleezza Rice, was saying 20 years ago, the time is now for a two-state solution. No, the time, frankly, is never for a two-state solution, because in the Muslim mind, the Palestinian Arabs, a two-state solution is just a prelude to one state, which is Palestine. Topic number 3, speaking of Donald Trump, the Trump trial. The key witness for Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg was essentially kneecapped in court yesterday by Trump's attorney, Todd Blanche. This was cross-examination about a pivotal phone call that connected Trump to allegations that he approved reimbursements to pay porn star Stormy Daniels during the 2016 election. Hush money, in other words, just shut up, don't talk about anything that may or may not have happened, but just easier to pay her than to try to fight it in the court of public opinion in the media. According to a legal analyst on CNN, I'm going to quote, "I don't think I've ever seen a star cooperating witness get his knees chopped out quite as clearly and dramatically as what just happened with Michael Cohen," end quote. So basically, this means that the witness on which much of this case hangs has just been demolished in court by Trump's attorneys. Now, having said that, this trial should not even be at this stage of the game. What Trump did is not illegal. If anything, there was a misdemeanor in the way the money was categorized on tax filings or something, but the statute of limitations for misdemeanors has long since expired. What Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg is trying to do is revive the misdemeanor by claiming that it was used to cover up an underlying crime, but he has not identified the crime. It's like, Nancy Pelosi. We have to pass the bill to find out what's in it. We have to convict Trump to find out what the crime is. This is unconstitutional. And if he's alleged to have committed a federal crime, which is not within a district attorney's power to prosecute anyway, the judge should have thrown this out right from the get-go. The fact that legal analysts on CNN and other news networks are treating this like it's a serious case tells you a lot about the media. Topic number 2, apparitions. The Vatican this morning, Friday, updated its guidelines for reviewing apparitions, supernatural manifestations, and reaffirmed that only a pope can formally deem something to be supernatural. This document, which is called Norms for Proceeding in the Discernment of Alleged Supernatural Phenomena, has been released by the Vatican's Dicastery for the Doctrine of the Faith. You can find it online, vatican.ca. Social media has led to an explosion of new claims of supposed apparitions or visions. It's great clickbait, but you need discernment. It's just that in Roman Catholic doctrine, only the Pope is allowed to make that official declaration. We respectfully disagree, but it is funny because they say the reason for this new update is because social media has led to traditional Catholic devotions such as Our Lady of Fatima have become increasingly politicized and the source of seemingly endless conspiracy theories. Makes you wonder if they've been watching L.A. Marzulli's videos. Not that L.A. is promoting conspiracy theories, but you can see where the Vatican might claim that his interpretation of Fatima is a conspiracy theory. By the way, nothing in this about UFOs or aliens, as was being claimed on social media leading up to this release earlier today. Coming up, quite possibly the most entertaining soccer match ever, especially for us Americans. That's ahead on 5 and 10.
We want to make sure that you know how you can get your copies of both of these new works in the Nearing Midnight and Hereafter exclusive offer. This amazing offer includes Nearing Midnight as It Was in the Days of Lot by the legendary Terry James, that explores in detail through the prism of God's Word the potential for nuclear war to break out at any moment. How the entire world is facing the imminency of a dictatorial digital monetary system. Why Mother Earth worship in the form of climate change insanity is being forced upon humanity. How the entities of Ephesians 6:12 will establish control through a new world order, and the blessed hope believers have in the return of the Messiah. Also included in this special offer is Jonathan Brentner's Hereafter. It's far better than you can imagine. This beautifully written new masterpiece will forever change the way that you view the afterlife. You will experience the anticipation of the jubilant reunion and celebrations in heaven that believers will partake in after this current life. Broaden your understanding of heaven and the start of eternity. You'll also learn the answers to difficult questions like, how will we experience and perceive time once in heaven? What will our emotions be like? What will our heavenly bodies be like? Will we have supernatural powers? And so much more. But we're just getting started. Also included is Jonathan Brentner's best-selling book, Triumph of the Redeemed. In this fascinating work, Jonathan helps you grasp onto the eternal perspective during life's perilous circumstances, the new earth, and so much more. This incredible offer also includes The Coming Judgments on DVD, where Terry James and Pete Garcia delve into great detail on the seal, trumpets, and bowl judgments listed in the book of Revelation. Also included is Jonathan Brentner's presentation entitled Hope in the Rapture. You'll be shocked when you find out why the Thessalonians were grief-stricken regarding the rapture upon receiving the Apostle Paul's first letter, and how you can be free from this very same trap. Sold separately, these items hold a retail value of nearly $90. Yours now for your donation of only $45, which includes free shipping to all U.S. orders. So don't delay. You can scan the QR code on your screen right now using the camera app on your phone for instant access to this exclusive offer. You can also visit us at skywatchtvstore.com or call 1-844-750-4985 and ask for the Nearing Midnight and Hereafter exclusive offer right now.
Item number one today, get that Raccoon a sweater or jersey or whatever they call what soccer players wear. I'm an American. I know you Brits call it football, Australians, whatever. Look, for most of us Americans, this is boring. Except when you get a raccoon on the field. This may be the most epic sports battle in recent American history. A raccoon ran onto the field during a Major League Soccer game between Philadelphia Union and the New York Football Club on Wednesday night. Stopped play for 5 minutes, was on the field for all of 160 seconds as stadium's crew tried to trap the raccoon. The crowd was cheering for the raccoon, I think. They finally did capture the raccoon in the most appropriate way imaginable, with a plastic trash can. He was turned over to a pest control company and released safely into the wild. He now holds the world record for most time spent on a soccer pitch by a raccoon. This week on Skywatch TV, this is the capture there taking place. The sports team at Apple TV catching all the action, and the commentators had a great time. This week on Skywatch TV, we're talking about the end times and how what's happening in Israel right now factors into our understanding of what's coming. You can see the way world opinion is shifting against Israel. Could lead to a scenario where the world comes to war against Israel, which the Bible prophesies. Joel chapter 2, Zechariah 12, Zechariah 14. It's going to happen someday, sooner or later, but you can see now how plausible the scenario is. Don't miss the programs. It's about Jonathan Brentner's new book, Hereafter, and Terry James, end times expert, his new book, Nearing Midnight. You can see all the programs in this series at skywatchtv.com. You can also watch the broadcast over the air, skywatchtv.com/channels for the broadcast schedule. It's available right now on our Apple TV and Roku channels, also rumble.com/skywatchtv. But best of all is via our mobile app, which downloads all of our content right to your smartphone or tablet, bypassing the gatekeepers of big tech and using current tech like Google's AirPlay or Apple's AirPlay, Google's Chromecast. You can cast the video directly to your smart TV if it's relatively recent. It is absolutely free, available for iOS, Android, and Amazon Kindle Fire phones and tablets. And we've got links to their app stores at skywatchtv.com/app. Thank you for watching as we keep watch and pray for the peace of Jerusalem. I'm Derek Gilbert. This is 5 in 10 from Skywatch TV.
God's creation is full of mysteries. What were the giants in the Scripture? Did dinosaurs roam the earth in the days of Noah? Are we alone in the universe? Join speakers Derek Gilbert, Rudy Landa, Michael Hoggart, Greg Patton, Mac Dominic, Josh Davis, and Micah Van Huss to explore the topics your Sunday school teacher didn't talk about at the Mysteries of the Bible Verse event in Cincinnati, Ohio, June 7th and 8th.